Hi again, my name is Helena Jai, and I want to say a happy new year to every one of you. Welcome back to the channel, the Guided Expression podcast. I'm so happy you guys are here again. It's been a wonderful 2024 and welcoming the new year 2025. It just brings this so much excitement that we know that everything we have in store for you guys this year, as we're going to be dishing them out and serving them, is going to be received with good tidings. So grateful to God for this time and for you guys. Thank you for always watching. Thank you for always staying tuned. This brings so much joy when I think about it and I realize that a whole lot of people are on the other end of this channel, following, listening, and watching everything we're doing. I'm so happy you guys are here. Thank you so much. And today we are going to be starting a new series which is titled the Spirit, Soul, and Body series. This series is targeted at you. Yes. And this is because every stage of our life, everything that we plan to do and achieve is centered around who we are. And if we are talking about unveiling identity, you get to a point where you're trying to identify who you really are, and it comes back to something that is not the usual, something that is outside the physical, something that is outside the material world. And that is when we start conversations around the realm of your soul and the realm of your spirit, which we cannot leave aside when we're talking about the physical realm. So that is the major reason why we're going to be taking this series. It's a long journey, and trust me, guys, we're going to break down every bit of this topic to the latter end. But I'll need you to stay tuned as we go through this series. Okay? And this particular episode is just the introduction. We're going to be introducing everything that concerns the spirit, the soul, and the body of man. So let's get to it. The topic is quite volatile, or we could use the word fluid, because it could change depending on your state of mind, depending on what you have in mind listening to it. It could change trajectory, because depending on what you have, your understanding of the topic initially before we get to it. And that would aid your understanding, that would also aid your interpretation, and that would also aid how you reflect what you learn or what you're listening to, how you reflect on it later on. And it's going to reflect how you explore it while you're having conversation with friends and family, while you express yourself to people, while you tell people about who you are. When people want to try to know you, when they want to get to know your kind of person, this will reflect in everything you do. Trust me, it will. That's why I said it's a bit fluid and volatile. So if you look at the word spirit, we're talking about the spirit, soul, and body. If you look at the word spirit, sometimes when you hear the word spirit, you'll be like, what is it something new? Is it something different from what we already know? It's not. And the reason why it will sound like that is because you are a spirit in yourself. Okay, so this whole ideology about the spirit, soul, and body, talking about it on this channel came to me when, at a point where I was trying to understand the difference between life and death and all of that, how there is transition between life and death, and I had lots and lots of questions in my head. And when you have questions like that, trust me, the best person that can answer those questions is the Holy Spirit. And I took time to ask those questions in the right way, and I got some answers. And I'm going to be giving you a breakdown of part of those answers. Of course, I can't give you everything because some of them are meant for my personal consumption and some are meant to be said to you. And so I'm going to take my time to explain as much as I can to you. Okay? Excuse me. So, we're starting with the spirit. The spirit is the first true state of man. It is our source identity. When I say first true state and our source identity, it means that every part of human stems from the spirit. You are first a spirit before you got the flesh, before you got the soul. You are first a spirit. If you look at it in that way, then you understand why even when you try and explore some things in the flesh, explore some things in the world, and sometimes your attention is being brought back to something that seems strange to you. There's something that keeps calling your attention, that keeps calling your inner being. It's just an evidence that we are first spirit. And the spirit also has this innate ability to navigate realms and territories. The spirit of man has the ability, among other things, to navigate realms and territories. Now you ask the question, what are realms? What are territories? There's a song coming to my head right now. I'm going to sing it. It's Yemi Alade's song. It says, if you ask me, Naku ask. If you ask me, I've asked the Holy Spirit and I'm bringing some answers to you. So, what I mean by realm is, a realm is a state of existence. Nothing exists outside a realm. So a realm is defined by a state of existence. So we have the spirit realm, we have the body realm or the soul realm. We have other realms that are beyond the scope of this conversation. So as the unveiling identity is concerned, we are only going to be talking about those three realms, which are the entities of existence. We're talking about the spirit realm, the soul realm, and the body realm. For now, we'll stop it there. Okay, so, and what are territories? Territories are forces of influence in specific realms. There are some forces of influence that exist in the spirit realm. There are some forces of influence that have the power to exact action, to put things in place in the soul realm. And there are forces of influence that also has power in the body realm. But we're still talking about the spirit. And only the spirit has the power and the ability to navigate different realms. So the spirit could go to the realm of the soul, the spirit could go to the realm of the body. That is why you have your spirit living in your body. The spirit has the ability to navigate realms, and it also has the ability to understand territories. Of course, if you're going into a particular territory, if you don't understand the territory, it's a danger zone for you. And there are some territories that even if you understand them, if you don't know what to do, if you don't know how to navigate that territory, is going to be a danger zone. So, but the spirit of man has the ability to navigate realms, and it also understands forces of influence in each realm. Your spirit understands the forces of influence in your body. Your spirit understands the forces of influence in your soul. And also in that actual realm of the spirit, he understands every force of influence that might be in a spiritual realm. Your spirit, the spirit of man, understands it. Take, for example, animals are, some of them could be territorial, like the lion is a very territorial animal. And you see the lion like creating this kind of territorial behavior, showing you that this is my boundary, you don't cross this boundary. The moment you come into a perimeter of that boundary of a lion, you know you've crossed your path and you're going to be in trouble with the lion. That's just how it is. But for the spirit of man, he understands every territory. He understands the nature of different territories. He understands the nature of different powers, different authorities that could be at play in different realms. So that is another power the spirit of man understands. In each realm, there are principles, there are guiding principles, there are guiding forces, right, that guides the activities of a realm. Take, for example, in the spirit realm, there are principles that no one can change. They are laid down foundation that keeps the realm functional. If you look at the sun is up there, right, revolving around the planetary bodies. And what keeps the sun in place? No one knows. What I mean by that is we didn't create what keeps the sun. We could understand it, but we did not create what put the sun in its place. If you look at the electromagnetic force around the sun, it gets to a distance where any object, no matter how strong the object is, goes to a specific distance to the magnetic field of the sun. It gets burnt with no traces of any element. It gets consumed. That is the forces that holds that magnetic field. Is an example of principles, is an example of authorities that holds a realm, that keeps a realm functional, right? These forces, these authorities are there. They were not created by us. They are there, and they are going to be functional to the end of time. These are the things that keep the realm functional. Don't forget that we said the spirit of man has the ability to navigate realms. I did not say your body. If an astronaut should go into the space and move too close to the electromagnetic field of a sun, the person is going to disappear. I mean, I'm talking science. I've never seen it before. I've never done it before. But if you research, these are things you will find potent, right? So the spirit of man has the ability to go to different realms and back. He also understands territorial powers. He also understands territorial forces. He also understands those kinds of electromagnetic fields. He understands them. And most times, territories are defined by the type of authority that is in play in that territory. Most times, territories are defined by the type of authority in play in each territory. Now, before we go ahead and talk about what happened at creation, because of course, we cannot talk about the spirit of man, talk about the soul of man and the body of man without making mention of what happened at creation. It all started, at least for us, it all started at creation. So before we talk about what happened at creation, we're going to briefly talk about the other two realms, the other two entities of existence. Now, talking about the soul, you may ask, what is the difference between the spirit of man and the soul of man? All right, here is your answer. The soul of man can be explained or defined as the image of God that was cloned at creation. So allow me to use the word cloned, or like a reflection of the image of God. We're using that word because it's like, when you're looking at a mirror, you see an exact picture of yourself. You see yourself in the mirror. The person in the mirror, if you pick up the mirror, will do everything you do. If you raise your hand, if you wave, the image in the mirror will do the same thing, right? That means some qualities, some things you can do, the image in the reflection can also do the same. Aside the fact that you have life, you're breathing, and so many other things that the image cannot do. You can only see it, okay? So it's a reflection, it's a complete image, it's a clone of the actual person, the actual object in the mirror. So our soul, the soul of man, is the image of God that was cloned at creation. And it is so important to understand that this soul of man is very important to God because it is a clone. That means whatever you do is just like it is God doing it. This is how important we are to God. Because we are His image, we are just like Him. We are just like Him. So your soul is the most important thing in life. Your soul is the most important thing in life because this is the basis of your creation. Now you're going to ask me the question: spirit, the spirit of man, the soul of man. So what's the connection? Why is the soul the most important? What about the spirit of man? I'll use a pregnant woman to explain this. But before I do that, just know that the spirit of man is a compartment that houses the soul of man. It houses the soul of man. It nurtures the soul of man. It feeds the soul of man. It makes sure that the soul of man is in good health. That is what the spirit does. Okay? So, it shows that the soul of a man cannot survive without the spirit of man. The soul of man will die if separated from the spirit of man. You cannot separate the soul of man from the spirit of man as long as the man is in this realm. So these things are very delicate. If you're trying to understand them in absence of some things, I said that the soul of man cannot exist without the spirit of man in this realm. Maybe in some other realms, you can have a soul of man without the spirit of man. But for the sake of the realm we are in, this physical realm, this material world, the planet Earth, the soul of man cannot exist without the spirit of man. I know you have questions. We'll get to that. So, the best way to explain it is if you look at a woman, say someone pregnant, right? There's a womb, there's a fetus, and for some reasons, how nature have it, the fetus lives in the womb until it's time to come out to the world before we hear the cry and we start celebrating the newborn. Before it gets to that point, the womb nurtures and feeds and cares for the fetus. Through the umbilical cord, through the placenta, everything happens with the help of the womb. Yes, the woman carries the child, but there's a medium. The child is not just in the long intestine, right? It's not just in the stomach, right? You know, little children will just believe that, oh, mommy, my sister or my brother is in your tummy. It's assumed that it's just there. But no, it's not just there. It's inside a womb, enveloped in a womb, catered for, pampered, cared for. nurtured in the womb. So you see, the baby now is taken as the soul of man. The womb is the spirit of man. The spirit houses the baby. The spirit houses the soul. It's going to nurture it. It's going to care for it. The soul depends 100% on the spirit of man. And see the woman as the spirit of God, or the carrier of both the spirit of man and the soul of man. So without the soul, without the spirit, the soul is dead. And you don't even want to talk about when the soul is dead. That's a different topic for another day. All right, so to the third entity of existence, which is the body. This is the entity we are 100% actively aware of, because it is materialistic, because it is the material world. We can see, we can feel, we can touch, it's connected to our 5 senses. So we are more connected to it than the other 2 entities of existence, right? So because I can see you, you can see me, because we can have conversations, we are more in tune with the body than we are with the spirit and the soul. It's normal. It's not a strange thing, right? And listen, this realm is made for us. This realm is actually the realm we're made to take charge, to express our authority. The authority has been given to us as the cloned image of the Creator. This is where we are meant to create. This is our space where we are meant to clone our thing, where we are meant to create things, bring ideas, bet ideas, bring business ideas. You have wonderful imagination, bring them to life, like the aeroplane, like so many scientific inventions. This is where we do everything that the Creator has placed in our mind, and we bring everything to life. This is our stage. This is where we make things happen. But one mistake we would make as humans is to think that we are in this realm, and the realm of the soul and the realm of the spirit is elsewhere. No, they are here. They are here with us. So the body is the actual realm that has dominance in this realm, because it's the physical realm. So the body has dominance in this realm. The soul is going to have dominance in the soul realm, and the spirit has dominance in the spirit realm. Don't forget, the spirit of man can navigate all the realms. Okay, so we're here in our spirit, in our soul, and in our body. When a man dies, what happens? The soul leaves. The soul doesn't leave alone. The soul is always with the spirit. When a man dies, the soul leaves this realm, and the spirit leaves this realm. Now, what happens when the soul and the spirit leaves is another conversation for another day. So, we are only here because the realm of the body, our body is here. That is why the spirit and the soul is also here. Once life leaves this body, once the body dies, once the organs, those things that we can see, once they lose their life, the spirit and the soul leaves the body. It's very important to understand all of this, because we get to some specific points in our lives where we have conversations about some things that are so minute and yet so important to our existence that we find ourselves coming back to the conversation of the spirit, soul, and body. So, you're going to see the difference between when you actually understand realms, when you understand territories, and when you understand the three entities of existence, and when you're dealing with situations or when you're having conversations. You're going to see the difference. When you understand what happens in different realms and the purpose of territories and the entities of existence, when you understand them, you're going to see that there's going to be a difference in how you think. There's going to be a difference in how you assess things. When you see things happen, these are things that happen in our waking world, right? When you see things happen, it's going to be a difference with the way you approach them, with the way you define them, with the way you express them, with the way you associate with them. There's going to be a difference. And that difference, it might look so minute and so insignificant, but that difference, it goes a long way. It goes a very long way. So let's go back to the beginning of everything. In the beginning, when God created heaven and earth, if you read Genesis chapter 1, you have a vivid understanding of this. So when God created heaven and earth, He obviously created heaven and earth from a realm that existed before heaven and earth. Definitely not any of the realms we're talking about. But He existed before time. Time came to be during the time of creation. That was when time was created. God exists before time and in a realm different from the realms we are aware of right now, or different from the realms we are discussing right now, right? And during creation, he said He made heaven and earth. So you're going to ask the question, okay, God exists before time and in a different realm. Why the need to create another realm? Why the need to create heavens and earth? Why the need to create man? Why the need to create everything He created? Excuse me. So God created heaven and earth, and He created heaven and earth for a reason. He would not just play around and say, oh, I want to create this just for creation's sake. There was a reason. We're going to get to all of this, but just try as much as you can to just follow every question you have in mind, every question that pops out from this conversation. You can pen them down. You can also put them in the comments, and we're going to review and attend to them accordingly. But try not to go too far or far behind. Just try and follow through. So He created heavens and earth. He created everything for a purpose. And one thing I know, take for example, if you want to have breakfast, right? Let's use it as an example. And you decide to have toast and a cup of juice, and let's just leave it with that. You don't want to take tea, you just want a cup of juice and toast. Either consciously or subconsciously or unconsciously, that decision you made to take toast and juice stemmed from something, probably because of weight loss, or you want to maintain your weight, or you've decided to take more carbs, or you want to take more protein, or you want more vitamins, there is always a reason and a purpose to achieve for everything we do. Remember, we are His image. We think like Him, we do things like Him. So, for creating heaven and earth, there was a purpose, there was a reason, there was something in specific He wants to achieve for creating heaven and earth. So He created heaven and earth, right? And because there is a purpose behind it, for the purpose to be fulfilled, there are some things that needed to be put in place so that the purpose can be fulfilled. You want to take toast as breakfast in the morning. You want to use baked beans. You want to use eggs. You need a bottle of juice, maybe fruit juice, orange juice or any other kind of juice. And deep down, you're probably at work, deep down that you don't have any of these things at home. Instinct naturally will tell you to go to the grocery store and pick up these things because you need to take them for breakfast the next morning. Right? It's instinct. You would know the right things to do. So it was just right for Him to put some things in place to ensure that the purpose for which the heavens and earth were created are also fulfilled. Because if these things are not put in place, after creating heavens and earth, they might not be able to fulfill purpose. Then why? What will now be the benefits? What will be the purpose of creating if the reason for creation is not achieved? So two things. God created heaven and earth to achieve something in particular, for a purpose to be fulfilled, and He put some things in place to ensure that He did not just desire that these things come to pass. He also made the things that would ensure that these things come to pass. He made them available. Now, these things are the guiding principle we spoke about earlier, that for each realm, there are guiding principles, there are guiding forces that ensure that activities of the realms are fulfilled, that to ensure that the realms are functional, that they are self-sufficient, they can function without the Creator having to come and put things in place at every point in time. Like the sun we mentioned earlier, the electromagnetic field around the sun ensures that the sun is put in place and ensures that the effects of the sun is not felt past a particular distance. If the electromagnetic field is not in place, the rate at which the rays from the sun will be eating some places on planet Earth, we would have been burnt, right? These things are kept in place to ensure that these realms function independently without the Creator having to come and adjust everything every second. No. So, two things. He created heavens and earth for a reason, to achieve a purpose, and He also He placed a system in place to ensure that the purpose of the realm is achieved independently. Now, the process of putting things in place, the process of making sure that there are guiding principles that the realm will function in properly and independently, that process is called putting structure in place. When you put structure in every business, for a business to function independently of the CEO, of the owner of the business, you need to put system in place so that even after the owner of the business or the creator of the business is long gone, with the right system in place, with the right structure in place, the business can still function, can make profits, and can do lots of things. All right, can innovate, can become better, and all of that. So the process of putting things in place, putting structure in place, is the process of putting those guiding principles in place is called structuring. And it is so important to everything as it is important in creation. Now, if you go down the line in Genesis chapter 1, if you go to chapter 2, it's going to say something like, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. The Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Now, darkness here does not essentially mean dark. This is what it means. Darkness here means, one, the absence of light, and it also means the absence of structure. It says, before we get to the point where it says darkness was over the surface of the deep, it says, and the earth was formless and void. Formless and void. Formless means without structure, and void means when something is not occupied. Not occupied in relation to the intended purpose of the realm. I'll take that again. It says, and the earth was formless and void. Formless means it was without structure. Void means it was not occupied according to the intended purpose. That is what darkness means. Darkness, the presence of darkness means there is no structure and something is not occupied according to the purpose for which it was meant for. And the Spirit of God was hovering. The Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. So the water at this point was like a mirror, looking for an expression, looking for a reflection of itself. But because there was no structure, it wasn't occupied as intended, there was no reflection. The Spirit of God had no expression on earth. And so God called for light. He said, let there be light. And what happened? Yes, light came and darkness gave way. So light brought a form of structure. Light brought structure. Light brought an enabling ground, an enabling space for the actual occupant of the realm to occupy. It was void in the beginning because there was no enabling ground for the occupants of the realm to occupy. So when light came, there was structure. Structuring brought about enablement. Let's talk about a plant. If you plant a tree, you plant a seed in a soil, there is no enabling ground for it to grow. It's going to be stunted and it's going to die. So that was what happened. Fine, heavens and earth were created, but the earth was formless and was void. And darkness was over the surface of the deep. And when light came, light brought structure. And so, let it be noted that light is structure. Darkness is when there is no structure. When there is, you don't have a true understanding of what is meant to be, when you don't have a true understanding of how things are meant to be, the actual purpose of a thing is not understood, that is darkness. Now, it is not bad in its true sense. Darkness is not bad. It is only an evidence of the absence of structure and the absence of an enabling ground according to the intention of creation. So when God called forth light, and when light came and darkness gave way to light, the Bible recorded that God saw that it was good. Do you know why? Because with the presence of light, with the presence of structure, the inhabitants of the realm will be able to achieve the purpose for which the realm was created. The inhabitants will be. So if you read further, you're going to understand what this purpose was. It said things like, go, multiply, be fruitful and multiply. I've given you authority over fishes of the sea, over birds of the air, a whole lot of things like that. The presence of light ensures that the inhabitants of earth are able to achieve the purpose of creation. So the light was good, and God saw that it was good. The Bible recorded that God saw that the light was good, and this light, he said it was good because he knows that through the light, man would be able to achieve the purpose of creation. And so, light and darkness were separated, and he called the light the day, and he called the dark the night. And with these two, seasons were created. We have the spring, we have the winter, we have the summer, we have different seasons. They have different names in some other continents. You have the Harmattan season in Nigeria, you have the raining season, you have the dry season. Seasons are categorized according to the movement and changes between night and day in the seasons, and the prevalence of nature. Maybe it pours more, maybe it rains more, maybe we have more of dry wind. Seasons were designed, or we're categorized according to that. But something important you should note is that if you look at it very well, any season that has more of daylight than the night brings more happiness, more joy. It seems like the best season for the man to explore, to express ourselves and all of that. And if you look at that season that has more of night time, you know what I'm saying, like the winter season. This is when people experience the deepest kind of depression. The deepest kind of depression happens during the winter season. It's not because it's cold, it's not because we experience more of dark hours than we experience the light hours. Okay, this happens naturally in nature. So far we've been able to explain the difference between the spirit, the soul, the body. I'm just going to take a recap. Remember that the spirit is the house of the soul. Without the spirit, the soul cannot exist. And remember that the soul is the seat of our emotions. The soul is the seat of our will. This is where you make decisions. When you're going to make decisions about where you're spending the holiday, where you're going to be, the kind of job you're going to do, everything is in your soul. This is the seat of your will. It is also the seat of our emotions. It is where we fall in love. It is where we decide we don't like this person, or you choose not to like a particular kind of dress, a particular kind of food. Everything happens in your soul. And what feeds the soul is the spirit of man. So if your spirit is dead, what happens to your soul? I just want you to take home this. It's very important. The spirit of a man feeds and nurtures the soul of man, and the soul of man is our intellect. It is where everything happens. Have you heard people say that they sold their soul to the devil? The soul is as important as that. And the body is the part where we express everything that happens between the soul and the spirit. The body is the one that expresses it. The body is the one that shows it off. The body is the one that shows everything that has been decided in the soul level. The body is the one that expresses everything. So, aside all of this, aside the physical realm, if I want to get to know you, I don't just look at you with your physique, with the way you speak, and all of those. Fine, people are dressed the way they are dressed, but I'm going to address you the way your spirit is addressed, or rather, the way your spirit is dressed. How do you dress your spirit? By knowing who you are really. This is the point we're making here. Understanding your spirit, man, understanding who you are to the core of you, it goes a long way. I really cannot stress it enough that understanding who you are, understanding the state of your spirit, understanding yourself to your soul level, it goes a long way. It goes a long way. There are times that I have questions in my heart. I just, some things just pop up in your mind and you're like, where did this come from? You know that naturally you're not a bad person. You don't think ill about people, but sometimes some thoughts will just come to you and then you think about it like, where is this coming from? This is not supposed to be me. I don't reason this way. There was an episode in the State of Mind series that we talked about challenging every thought that comes to you. They come from different. The soul houses the mind of man, your intellect. So everything around you, everything that you're in contact with, comes to your mind first. The mind is the seat of judgment. So your mind is that place where you have the jury and you're discussing what do you do with this thought, what do we do with this sound, what do we do with this. You choose to trash, and that decision is influenced by what you have in your spirit. Naturally, your spirit is true because it is an image of God. Your spirit is true because it is from God. Your spirit is fed directly by the Spirit of God. That same Spirit of God that was hovering over the waters in creation, that was waiting for a reflection of itself until light came and it was reflected. That same Spirit is what feeds your spirit. Now your spirit is then fed by the Spirit of God and feeds your soul. It nurtures, it cares, it caters for your soul. Now, if you don't consciously align these three, I mean the Spirit of God, your spirit, and your soul, if you don't align them, you're going to keep having this battle. Joyce Meyer's book, The Battlefield of the Mind. You're going to keep having that battle in your mind. And if you're not careful, the battle is supposed to be like a place that your mind is supposed to be like a place where you shuffle, you sieve things. This is meant to stay, this is meant to leave. No, this is, let's sort this out, let's do it this way, let's do it that way. But if you're not standing well, if you're not guarded with these three entities, I'm leaving the body out now. Everything happens in the body, everything is expressed in the body. The Spirit of God, your spirit, the spirit of man, and your soul. If you don't marry the three, the battles you have in your mind, they are going to end in you making bad decisions. And trust me, we make decisions every day. Decisions as little as how much water do I need to consume daily? How much food? What kind of food do I need to consume? What kind of friends do I keep? What kind of conversations do I have? Decisions as minute as that, they define the course of our lives. And I don't want this to sound too, serious, but it's serious though. But then it's something I want you to ponder on and try to adjust when you need to adjust. I would like you to go back to Genesis and study that book very well. And if you have questions concerning what happened at creation, that is just 0.000000001 explanation to what happened at creation. We only pick that part to explain the connection between the spirit, soul, and body. We only picked that part. There's a whole lot that needs to be understood. Now we are going to try and take our time to explain. The next episode we're going to be having on this series is going to be talking about the connection between love and the three entities of existence. That part of, we would be explaining where love stands. When you talk about spirit, is love connected to the spirit of man? Where does love stands in the spirit of man? Where you come to the soul level, where is love, where is love interpreted and how is it interpreted? And when it comes to the body, all those chemical reactions that happen when you feel love, I don't know what those chemicals are right now, but you feel them in your body when you feel loved or when you express love to someone. That's what we're going to be talking about in the next episode. And after that, we're also going to be fleshing out the other parts of the spirit, soul, and body. This is a journey. I'm not going to rush it, and I want to say you shouldn't rush it at all. Just take it as it comes, take it gradually, try and understand it, ask questions, ask yourself questions, make sure you get answers to these questions so you know what next to do. Thank you so much, thank you so much for joining on this introduction to the spirit, soul, and body. My soul is excited that you have listened and you are part of this conversation. And until we meet again, I would see you in good health, because the Bible says that I wish above all things that your soul prosper it. It means that above all things, if your soul is not in good health, you're not in good health. That's what it means. So I really pray and I wish that your soul is in good health. Thank you once again for listening, and I'll see you guys